Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try to get started here. Uh, I hope I've got everything going the way that I would like for it to go. I have some severe doubts, but we'll see how it goes. Uh, so can everybody hear me? Good, good. Is the music coming through? Okay. Uh, any music now? I'm trying to do just a little bit of music in the background, but okay, well, if the music's not wanting to do, then I'll just cancel that out. Alright, I guess we'll do it live. Alright, so uh, today I'm here. As you can see, I've got a Stryfe here in front of me that I'm going to be working on here in just a minute. I'll share this out real quick in a couple of places. But that's I've got a little something that I'm going to be trying to do with this Stryfe. I'm going to show exactly how little I know about electronics and rewiring and things like that. I'm sure there'll be some people yelling at me, uh, saying, oh God, you're doing it wrong. Holy crap, how can you screw up that bad?" Uh, but I'm still relatively new to rewiring. Uh, so hopefully I won't make too big of a fool of myself, especially considering that I just shared this in the Discord of uh, some people that I don't want to make a complete idiot of myself in front of. Uh, Before I get completely fired up, I do want to show this off. This was a little birthday present to myself. Uh, I bought right before my birthday, and that's I really like this. It is a little pricey, uh, but it's the Jupiter is a really nice, really well made and fairly well balanced blaster. Um, it it was a bit of a job wiring this up. Uh, so I did purchase this, and I I purchased the slowest rate of fire Jupiter that was offered. Uh, More or less, I have this sort of as a sidearm and a little bit of fire control. Nothing particularly major that I'm wanting to achieve with this, but I really, really love uh, this little blaster. Oh man, the sound of that. Uh, so I got just the 3 rounds a second. Uh, one. Uh, but as you can see, it does do some pretty good sustained fire. Uh, and I like it. It's a fairly good little blaster. It's well made. I really like Out of Darts and his stuff. Uh, check out his website, support him. Uh, he does a lot of good for the community. Him and the ladies from Foam Blast do a whole lot of good for the community. Uh, Hello, Shinryu. And then we've got Broke. We've got Tisha. Let's see. Will this tell me who is watching? Uh, nope, it's not wanting to. I know Boob Nintendo was in here a minute ago. Uh, yes, I've heard that as well, Broke. I've not seen any evidence to support that, but I have heard that. But anyway, uh, what I have here uh, is a Stryfe, and I have never actually done a Stryfe modification. Uh, I worked on a Rapid Red a little bit, was my first flywheel blaster, but I've not done just a whole heck of a lot with flywheels. I've never done a Stryfe. Uh, so today I've got a Stryfe here in front of me, and I'm going to go for a little while. I do not expect that I will get completely finished or get to a point that I necessarily want to, but I'm just going to work on this a little bit today. But I am uh, going to be doing this Stryfe, and I'm going to be rewiring it, and I've got a few other things in mind that I'd like to do with it eventually, but I've got if I can get the light to hit that just right, a malice cage for the Stryfe here. Um, Alice is letting me check this out and toy with this cage, so I'm going to be starting work on this today, and I'll see how far I get. Uh, I don't know how far or how well I will get. I'm just going to crack this Stryfe open. Figured I'd do a live stream for a little bit and see how things go and see who shows up and such as that. So I'm going to go ahead and start tearing into the Stryfe. First time I open a blaster, I always like to use a standard screwdriver because a lot of times these screws are put in by machine, and if there's some threading issues or anything in particular wrong, using a electric screwdriver can cause some problems if you use them to pull the screws out for the first time, whereas you're not as likely to cause as much damage with a regular mechanical screwdriver. Alright, thank you, Broke. I don't normally share my stuff out on Facebook. Uh, I sort of, share it out in Discord a little bit and whatnot. Of course, again, I just do YouTube for the fun of it. Uh, Rapid Roja, Michelle 2.0's 140. That's a little bit better. 140's better than what I was getting with my Rapid Red with Michelle 2.0's Broke. Of course, I have found out that I had a couple of issues going on there with cage spacing and the wheels I was using and things like that. I had a few little issues that I need to go back and get straightened up. Because apparently the cage I was using was a little bit too high crush. Of course, my understanding of cage spacing is nowhere near correct. Actually had a discussion with Alice a little while back about how bad off I am. 42 millimeter cage with Michelle 2.0s. That's, of course, the Worker Whites helps. Uh, hey, it's Coat Duck. Uh, but apparently, my perceptions of cage spacing for flywheelers is forever going to be in flux. I'm not exactly ever going to be completely satisfied with my knowledge of that, because every time that I think I know something, there's something horribly, horribly off about what I thought I knew. So, uh, and again, this is the first time I've ever worked on a Stryfe, so pardon my ignorance. Excuse me just a moment, I've got a call. All right, sorry about that. Uh, it was a call from my dad. Uh, that's apparently he uh, has had to take my mom to the emergency room. It's nothing super serious, but it's it's not good. Any trip to the emergency room's not good. So yeah, sorry about that. Uh, that's My mom told me she wasn't feeling good today, but she didn't mention that it was that bad. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'll probably end up cutting this a little bit shorter than I meant to, but yeah, I'll. I'm gonna stream for a little while. I'm gonna try to gut a Stryfe. Uh, but yeah, you have to excuse me because I'll probably have to duck out a little earlier than what I originally intended. Everything seems it's nothing major broke. I appreciate uh, the the concern. I think mom will be all right. It's just one of those deals. But yeah, I dropped a link in Coat Duck's Discord broke. So that's all right. Alice, I did get it printed. It's not the prettiest job. It's not the nicest job, but it is printed off. Uh, and I intend to get that in. I'm gonna probably have to do a couple of other things that I didn't necessarily take into account. Um, I probably need to print myself a switch plate down there just to make my life a little bit easier. Uh, yeah, I'm not like Ed. I've got feed guide printed. I've just not glued it to it. Uh, as I cleaned the cage the other night, did a little bit of filing and sanding on it, and tried to get it cleaned up and remove any burrs and things like that. And right after I left my shop, I got home and I went, crap, my feed guide. I didn't sand the feed guide. So I hit it a little bit, uh, and I'm going to try to get that glued on tonight before I leave. Give that plenty of time to set up. Uh, but yeah, I do have the feed guide. And I appreciate the chance to work with the Malice cage, Alice. I feel honored. Uh, Again, I'm probably going to make an idiot of myself in this. Of course, I don't know that I'll stream again this week, but there will probably be some times when you guys will be yelling, "No, you idiot! That's not how that goes." Uh, so just feel ready to slap me uh, as need be. Um, but never sand the feed guy. Well, I say sand, but I've got this nice little set of files that I got off of Amazon that I'm trying to use now to clean up my prints and stuff and make them look all nice and neat. And I don't know why I just took that out like I did. Thought there was a electronic lock there. Uh, but yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out and watching the stream. Uh, those of y'all that are here. Uh, that's I'm hoping this can be a little bit entertaining. Uh, And I got these screwdrivers off of a recommendation by Out of Darts, and I don't even remember what the video was or whose video it was for that matter, but it was a video he was on. He mentioned using diamond tipped screwdrivers because they did so much better about removing the screws from blasters and this and that and the other. And to tell you the truth, right now it's a little bit of a mixed bag for me, because they do grip a little bit better, but they also seem to sometimes, if you get in much of a bind, kind of seems like they can grind out the insides of screws a little bit faster. So it's not all, you know, nice and easy on things. So keep that in mind about those. It's a really nice screwdriver set. They're magnetized. I like magnetized. Hello, Gargunkel. Welcome to the stream. For what it's worth. Actually went live before I was ready for it to go live. That's why I've been going longer, but I didn't share it out till a little while ago, so you're not late. I was trying to get things set up, and I thought, well, I'll tell it to start the stream, and I won't completely go live till I've got everything set up and doing what I want it to do. And I clicked, and it went live, and I had people in here before I realized it. So thank you for coming out, Gargunkel. I tell you, Hasbro, I know this has a purpose, but it's just the way it's in there and everything, it's just kind of weird. Alright, so of course, again, I've not really done a whole heck of a lot with Stryfe, so I'm not exactly the expert there. Alright, so that was real smooth of me. Well, I hope everybody's doing well this afternoon. Chrono Mag build. I'm interested to see that, Gargunkel. As Chrono Mag build guides, there's not a whole lot of guides out there for that, so I look forward to seeing that. I really like the concept of the Chrono Mag. It's definitely something the Chronos was a heck of a blaster for Hasbro to come out with. Um, decently large plunger tube and a lot of function and things like that. Uh, yeah, Valor's done some really nice looking chrono mags. Uh, but yeah, he's not done any guides on them. Uh, so I mean, there's a market there for it. Uh, but you came in a little bit late there, Gargunkel. After I was showing a little bit of what I'm doing, which I need to. There's a couple of things that I'm going to need to print off and get some stuff uh, together for this. So I'm not going to be able to complete this, and then I actually got a phone call. I'm going to need to uh, do some other things as well. But what I have planned for this, I've got some Fang revamps that I'm going to run on 2S. Nothing particularly fancy. Uh, I'm probably going to cheat out and use the A. Kelly board, Kelly Industries board, to help me solder things a little bit. Of course, again, I'm still new at soldering. I bought like 6 or 8 of those Kelly boards from I forget if it was Out of Darts or Containment Crew. It was wherever I could catch them in stock a little while back. But I bought several of those boards, and then they released the updated version where you can uh, solder straight on a thing, uh, the XT60 connector. You can just straight up, hey, it's CJ. Welcome, CJ. Thank you for coming out. Uh, but they came out with some of those Kelly boards that had the XT60s that'll solder straight into them and and look real nice that way, and you can detach straight from there and everything else. After I bought some of those, so I'm gonna have to uh, get me some of those new boards after I use a few of those. Uh, let's see. Yeah, that's. I agree, Gargunkel. The Chronos grip is pretty well sized. Fits about right. I'm a big guy, but my hands are kind of smallish. Uh, Nothing wrong with Kelly board unless you're putting a window in. Uh, that's yeah. I'm not putting a window in. I've not got to that point yet, Alice. That's I'm gonna have to work my way up to that. Uh, yeah, that's. I don't know if I would know uh, Kelly from Kelly Industries. Like if he was to walk up and slap me in the face right now, I don't know if I would recognize him right off. I'm sure I've seen him, but uh, yeah, I love the new versions of that. But I bought like 6 of the old versions right before they came out with them. Uh, so that's. I, I'm not exactly huge on the idea of the quick change cages and whatnot, uh, but uh, that just having that convenience is good. Hey, it's Ryan Engelstead from Thunderdome, Minnesota. Glad to see you, Mr. Engelstead. Uh, Thank you for coming out. Uh, but where was I? Okay, yeah, doing Fang revamps in this. Got the Kelly Industries motor board. Um, I'm going back and forth on which size switch to use. I've got some 15s and some 21s. Depends on what I seem to have more of. Of course, I think it'd be a little bit easier to get a 15 in there. I'm going to put Instatanto out of darts wheels in here. Mostly just to kind of see how they do with this particular cage, and the cage is the real star of this. Uh, it's special. I'm really happy to have been chosen, or picked or asked or uh, won a lottery or whatever it was, to get the chance to print out a Malice cage from our very own Coat Duck there in the chat. Um, and I've got the feed guide for it. Prints in two pieces. Prints the cage, prints the feed guide, and then you glue the feed guide onto it. Uh, so that it helps the darts in there, and probably help if I got everything lined up right to begin with. Well, I know I'm doing something wrong here. But CJ, I'm not worried about likes. I'm just doing this uh, just sort of for the fun of it. I had a little bit of time free this afternoon, so I thought I would start in on this Stryfe. Uh, but this is it's a pretty good build. Uh, I think I believe it's got potential. So uh, I'm excited about the opportunity to do this. Uh, so I'm hoping that everything goes well. I hope I don't show my ignorance too much with this build, because again, I've not really ever done a whole lot of Stryfe builds. I'm not like some YouTubers that do 6 a week, or 17 every day or whatever. Uh, but I'm hoping that this, as I get into it and get to working with it some, will be entertaining. I'm hoping that the build in and of itself serves its purpose. Uh, so you caught that, didn't you, Alice? But I'm hoping this is something worthwhile. I'm hoping that you guys are entertained by this. Um, Welcome, Jay. Welcome, first time watching the channel. I'm nothing particularly special, nothing big time. So uh, that's. But I've got some work that I'm going to have to do in getting this ready. I've got a few more things that I need to put together. I'm going to try to print some stuff off later on tonight. Yeah, the cage dropped in fine. Uh, it's a little snug, seems like, Alice. Uh, it's partly my inexperience. Uh, it's not necessarily the fumblings of a 16-year-old boy in the back seat on a Saturday night or anything, but that's a little bit clumsy getting that in there. But once I got everything lined up, it fit fine. And it's just getting it in at the right angle. But I'm I'm hoping all of this goes well. Hoping the build goes well, and and you guys are somewhat entertained by it. Uh, Sorry about that, CJ. But uh, this is a build that I look forward to doing. Um, Again, I've got some different aspects planned with it. Um, Jay, I will sort of step in. I'm sure Alice will comment a little more, or she could say something a little more knowledgeable on this. But the great thing uh, about the malice cage that Alice has designed is that the crush is adjustable. Uh, you don't have to stick with certain crushes or anything like that. Uh, if you want a good point on that, go over to Ed Scar's channel. It's ed-skar, Ed Scar. Got a very good channel, somewhat entertaining. Uh, the He did some work with a malice cage, and his thing that he set up was, if I remember correctly, and I might be off on this, Alice, his crush was 42.314, something like that. I know he did 42 because that's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And I think he used 314 because of pi. Could be wrong. Uh, the uh, the malice cage is completely adjustable, and hopefully when I get around to doing a full video on this and I get a chance to test this out a little bit, I can kind of show off and talk about it a little more. But the malice cage is adjustable. You can set it up basically whatever crush you want. Okay, it's like 40.5 to 45 millimeter crush, so basically anywhere between the dart not going through and the wheels not even touching the dart, down to any precision you want. Uh, no, it's not that it's flimsy, Jay. Uh, you you can set it up. Uh, that's when I was talking with Alice about this cage. She said, "What crush do you want?" Yep, 3141592. Uh, but it's you set up the your wheel spacing, your cage spacing before you print it. Um, so you can say, okay, I want a cage that's 42.1, and boom, you go in, you adjust your print, and it'll print it off. Again, Ed did 42.3141592. That worked. Mine's a little more than 43. So uh, I've you know it's great. It's adjustable. So basically, you can get it in any crush that you want. Um, I've got a little more information that I'd like to share, but again, I'm going to save that for when I do a video on it. Uh, that's yes, that's the answer there. What Coat Duck said. It the file's parametric, so you can just punch in the number and it goes. Uh, but that's I've heard good things about the Daybreak wheels. Um, I I don't know how well they would work in this particular cage, because my understanding on the Daybreak wheels is they're a little bit bigger on their largest diameter uh, than a lot of standard wheels, and that's, as you can see, these out of dart Instantantos. Uh, well, that's not really showing. Uh, the the Instantantos just barely clear in there, and they're not huge. So uh, That's okay, Jay. That's a perfectly understandable misunderstanding there. Uh, Understandable misunderstanding. Uh, yeah. So uh, I'm not going to say whether or not the daybreak wheels would work in Alice's cage, because I've not dealt with daybreak wheels. Don't have a set. I've got a set of bulldogs, and I've got some worker whites and such sitting around. But if the daybreak wheels are a larger diameter, there might be a little trouble with this cage. Uh, but yeah, I like the way these wheels look in this cage. This is going to be a really fun setup. Uh, I'm there with you, CJ. Uh, I've done a rapid red that was mostly unsuccessful. I think I know what my problem is. I've just not taken the time to sit down and work on it. Uh, and then I put together a Jupiter just recently, and this was a little bit of a headache for me because again I've done one other flywheeler before this, and then to go to a two switch auto blaster setup, it was a little bit of intimidation. I'm not 100% happy with the wiring job that I did in this, but so far it's not caught on fire on me. I've not put 1,000 rounds through it or anything, but well, there isn't a Coat Duck website, and it's not retailing right now. That's I'm lucky enough to be a tester for Alice on this, so she's she's got some things in the work. Is all I'm going to say at this point. Uh, that's when I get ready to do a full video on the cage. Uh, I'm going to get as much releasable information as I can uh, to to put in with the video and talk about it. Uh, but that's it's still sort of in the testing phase right now, and I'm one of the uh, people selected to test it, I guess. So I'm kind of happy. Uh, that's it's funny you should mention the Hera Garguncle. That's I was planning on after I streamed for a little while and kind of cut off for the night. I was going to do a video on the Jupiter, but I'm going to have to set that to the side. But I was going to compare it to my Hera, uh, just sort of as a comparison sake. Uh, Jab broke. I get what you mean about sometimes what Alice says going over my head, um, because that's for somebody that's not an official engineer with an official engineering degree from an official engineering school in an official engineering state. Um, Alice does a lot of really good engineering work. That's what I was going to say, Garguncle. Uh, that's out of Dart's book, and I need to pick up a copy of that myself. Uh, the Jupiter uses aftermarket motors. The Jupiter uses Fang revamps and runs on a 2S. Uh, so uh, the uh, the the Jupiter is really neat as far as rival is concerned. It doesn't use rival motors and it doesn't use rival wheels. It uses worker black high crush wheels and it uses Fang revamp motors. So it's not rival motors, it's not rival wheels, and it's not really a rival cage. It's a cage made specifically by Out of Darts and Tarek, what I get the name wrong, but Out of Darts and one of his associates developed the cage and kind of developed the whole blaster, and it's really awesome. Runs on a 2S lipo. when you get it wired up and everything. And really and truly, that's I don't know much about wiring, don't know much about flywheels. Um, this was really the second ever blaster that I rewired, and it wasn't all that hard, especially if you go over to Out of Dart's YouTube channel and follow his build guide on this. Uh, it really well detailed. Uh, it's a kit blaster. It's $100 to get the kit. He ships it out to you, and you've got everything that you need there uh, to put it together. You don't have a lipo. You've got to buy lipo and lipo charger and all that to run it. But basically, as far as the blaster in and of itself, all of this comes in a kit for $100. Um, the lipo doesn't cost too much in and of itself, and all of that. So uh, it's a pretty cool little blaster. I like the Jupiter. Um, it is what it is. Some people don't like it, some do. I think it's pretty handy. I'm trying to figure out exactly where this is going to go in a loadout for me. I'd love to use this at End War this year, but I may be doing something different. It kind of depends on how that goes. Uh, yeah, the cage on the Jupiter is about stock Rival Crush. Um, I've not read Luke's book either. It looks good. I need to pick up a copy. Amazon sells it and whatnot. I want to buy it from Luke and try to get it autographed and whatnot. Thanks for stopping by, CJ. I'm glad you stopped by. It kind of tickles me to have had you out. Um, it might shoot a Mega Dart J. I don't know. I don't have one handy to try. Uh, but we're coming up on an hour here, and I've not really got a whole lot accomplished, and and I've got a bit more that I need to get done, and the whole gluing the feed guide on, that's going to take a good 24 to 48 hours to let that set and cure properly before I'll have everything ready to go. So um, I'm gonna that's that's basically the reason I bought one, Ryan. I bought a Jupiter because I got to fire one at Indoor. It was tremendously fun. I really liked it. It was a little bit overpriced, and yeah, I've got super glue. I just like to let it cure for a while when I can. Um, I've got some go-to glue, and I've got some, I think, Gorilla super glue maybe. Uh, but uh, But yeah, the Jupiter uh, out of Darts has released one that's just a three ball a second. Uh, that's hey, that ask questions, Jay. That's the number one way you learn anything. Uh, and I get asked questions all day anyway. I'm a teacher. It's what I do. Um, so, uh, but yeah, Alice, I'll probably glue that on here in just a little while and let it set. I don't have my glue exactly handy right now, but it's at the other end of the room. Excuse me. But the three ball a second Jupiter is what I bought. Lowest rate of fire that he had originally. I think the lowest was 5, and that's I mean, at 3, it's a bit of a dart hose. Uh, but I wanted something with a lower rate of fire, but still kind of a sustained uh, stream there. That way, I could control what I was doing. I can single fire very easily, and it works pretty well. But yeah, I'm having to cut back on my um, Nerf budget a little bit right now, mainly so that I can get to End War this year. Um, But as a birthday present to myself, I ordered a Jupiter and put it together, and I'm really tickled with it. Um, so I'm glad to have that out. But I'm going to wrap up. I've been streaming for about an hour. I'd wanted to go for two, uh, but I got a phone call. I'm going to have to cut things a little bit short, uh, just in case something else comes up that I've got to take care of. Uh, that's my dad was at the hospital with my mom, so I'm going to have to be ready in case I have to do something else. But uh, but I really appreciate y'all coming out. Uh, if y'all have any more questions, I'll take questions for another 5 or 6 minutes here. Uh, just kind of shoot the bull. I'm not going to go any further with the Stryfe tonight. I could kick myself if I would have thought I could have set some of this stuff up earlier and been ready to go. But okay, sirrah, sirrah, whatever will be. Uh, Anybody have any questions about? I showed the Jupiter. I've got this Stryfe here. I've got the Malice cage, which if Alice is still in the chat there, she'll uh, probably be able to tell you more about the Malice cage than I can. Which again, she may not be telling everything on it just yet. So, uh, well, Gargunkel, I'm hoping to get to an SENC event this year. I I was kind of hoping to go this month. Uh, yeah, go get you a bite to eat, broke. You need to eat. Got to keep that blood sugar up. Uh, but I'm hoping to go to an SENC event at some point. I'd wanted to go this month in February, uh, but I don't know if I'll exactly get to. They're the closest large group that I know of to me, uh, but that's still about a 4 hour drive for me to go down to Atlanta to nerf with them. Uh, but the main thing that I was hoping to achieve in going to an SENC event was to kind of see how their rules are and what their setup is and things like that, because I'd really like to start a group here in Tennessee. Um, my main idea is to start a group somewhere here in Middle Tennessee, because I'm sort of right in that edge between East and Middle Tennessee, and on the northern border, kind of close to Kentucky. But I'd kind of like to set a group up here and be able to do an event once a month or once every 2 months or something like that here in Tennessee, and then once every 2 or 3 months uh, go down and nerf with SENC. So, but and I'm not necessarily wanting to crib off of them, Gargunkel. I'm what I'm wanting to do is use similar rules and standards and game types and things like that, because what my idea is to set up an affiliate of the SENC here, uh, because the SENC is a large group. It's got an established rule set. It's got an established player base, and uh, I don't want to necessarily compete with them. What I'm wanting to do is kind of interact with them and kind of set up, um, an extra chapter to the side. Uh, that way, if people belong to the SENC that can't make it to Atlanta, if they could make it to here in Tennessee, uh, they'd have that option, and it would be the same style play and things like that. It would be something that the people that are already playing there would be familiar with and ready to go. Of course, some of the old guard, I guess you would say, from the SENC have stepped down and they're not as active. I was really hoping to get to talk to the Flying Chicken uh, about things because I know he did a lot of administrative stuff down there about helping them uh, do some things behind the scenes. Um, that's, and I know Bobo's not around as much, and uh, you know, Drac does Drac things. Um, I know, the SNC is his baby, but uh, he's more often he's somewhere else than Atlanta, it seems like. So, he does drop in to their events and stuff like that, but uh, he's not as involved in their day-to-day administration stuff, which TK 1138 or 1138, you know, whatever, whichever one it is. I know he does quite a bit with them, and there's a few other people that have contact with them. Uh, so I'm sure I could talk with some of their moderators down there and get some stuff, but uh, it's more than just getting the information. It's I kind of want to see how they do it and experience how it rolls from one thing to the other and kind of how they handle stuff. And uh, it's in the idea of starting a group, especially. Again, I'm a teacher, so it's one of those things. I'm seen as being responsible for a lot of stuff, whether I actually am or not. Uh, and so liability kind of worries me, and I kind of want to talk to them about how they handle that and different things. So, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I'd love to hook up with them. My main thing was I was kind of hoping to get an event in April or May and get started uh, here in Tennessee, but I just don't know. But End War, it being in Atlanta, just 4 hours away, um, I definitely want to go to it again this year. Athens was 6 hours for me, so it's a little bit closer. It's going to be a lot a bit hotter. It's going to be humid. It's going to be just nasty. I'm dead certain. Atlanta in June, it'll be like going into a sauna, especially for people that aren't from the southeast. Uh, so uh, I don't know how well I will fare at Indoor this year, but I do plan on going, and I'm planning on hoping to participate in the entire event. So we'll see how that goes. Um, I'm going to look at that broke when I get ready to get things started. I'm going to try to use Meetup um, to try to bring in a few more people. That and Facebook groups and those things. Uh, where's Neon at? I know that's northeast. Uh, I don't know for sure exactly. I can't recall exactly where Neon is at. Akron, Ohio. That's not entirely impossible. I don't see it happening necessarily this year, kind of depending on how my schedule works out. But uh, that wouldn't be entirely impossible. Uh, let's see it broke. Uh, but well, see, that's Mongoose is threatening to come down to my events a little bit because I think I'm maybe about 2 hours from Mongoose Jake. Uh, he's actually, if I recall, he's in a town that I used to go to when I taught uh, in a community a little bit east of here. I would go up into Kentucky and visit a couple of towns up there, and I think that's where Mongoose is at. We'll see you, Core. Thanks for stopping by. Um, but that's at some point, Gargunkel. I am toying with an idea, and I don't know exactly how well it'll all work out, um, but something that I'm thinking about doing maybe next summer, summer of 2020, depending on how everything else works out, and I'm going to have to look into the particulars of what all it's going to require for me to be able to pull off what I'm wanting to do. But what I would love to do is go up to upstate New York and visit Aldos at his little arena, and pop in there and play on a Friday night sometime, nerf with Aldos and his crew, then turn around and the next Saturday pop over to Detroit, and that would involve driving through Canada, uh, but drive across and hit Detroit on a Saturday for one of their Z13 events. I think that would make for an awesome, awesome weekend. Uh, that's it would involve probably driving up on like a Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know exactly how long it would take me to get up there, uh, but I want to give myself plenty of time to get up there and stop along the way and whatnot. But go up and hit. I think it's Rochester where Aldos is at on a Friday night. Bump over to Detroit for a Saturday night and then come back. I think that would be an awesome, awesome trip to make. Of course, I think that would require me having a passport because the shortest way to make that trip would be to go through Canada. Uh, and I think I would have to have a passport to drive through there. I've never had a passport. Um, and I don't know if Canada would want me. Uh, but I think that would be a cool trip to make. Uh, and that, yeah, Alice is up in that area. She has made it down to Detroit uh, for a thing or two. That's her and Buff Daddy went down there for a Z13 night. Uh, that would be stupendous to get to play with Alice and Buff Daddy. That would be pretty cool. Uh, get back with the passport card. Okay, that's the kind of stuff that I'm going to have to look into. I'd love to make that trip. Uh, that's I've kind of always wanted to go to Niagara Falls. My wife has always wanted to go to Niagara Falls. That's sort of a midpoint. Uh, it wouldn't be entirely out of uh, the loop to stay in Niagara Falls, drive up, hit Rochester, come back, spend that night in Niagara Falls, and then drive across to Detroit. Um, wouldn't be entirely out of the loop there. Well, I would bribe Butt Daddy Alice. That's if that is something we could swing schedule wise. I would definitely uh, pay his gas to fetch the duck. Um, but Ryan, I appreciate that. That's young, older stock mod. It all plays a part. Uh, what I'm looking at doing is maybe go super stock. Um, because I don't want the ultra stock, super hard, scare kids away kind of stuff. I want to keep it to where somebody could show up with a stock blaster and still be able to compete. I'd like for all ages to be able to play. Uh, I'm old and fat right now. I'm trying to get older and a little less fat. But I just hit 37 earlier this month. Um, I'm not getting any younger. So that's I want the game types to be open uh, to just about everybody. I want them to be accessible. Uh, but I'm thinking, super stock kind of thing. A soft cap of 130 with a hard cap of like 150 or so would be reasonable. Uh, and what I'm thinking by soft cap and hard cap um, is, the soft cap of 130. You need to try to have where your blasters hitting about 130, but the hard cap of 150 is when you chrono absolutely nothing over 150. Uh, but try to aim for 130. But like if it's hitting, uh, 145 every so often, something like that, that's not going to be that much different than 130. Uh, but there again, that's not going to be necessarily prohibitive against somebody that's running a like a stock light command that's going to be running 100 feet per second. Um, they're going to be able to keep up with people. They're not going to be at a huge disadvantage. Um, but uh, but yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. Yeah, that's I'd like to make it up there at some point, Gargunkel. That's again, it's going to be um, a little bit of a push right now. I don't see it necessarily this summer, but that's my wife had some slight medical issues, which we're still not entirely certain about. But I was in Iowa last summer, and she had some words with her boss and uh, some different things, and that she wasn't exactly feeling good. And I was afraid she was having a heart attack, and I was 1,000 miles away from the house. Uh, but but she's a bit younger than I am, and here she's having these medical issues, and her boss is wanting to be a smart aleck about things, and uh, she ended up over that because her boss didn't want her. You might be having a heart attack. You go to the doctor, but you come right back. Don't. Uh, he was sort of a jerk about things. Uh, but she left her job, and she's um, been trying to get better and trying to get herself back kind of normal, and that's she's not found another job yet. So right now I'm the only one working, uh, and money's a little bit tight right now. So I'm actually pulling back from stuff a little bit. That's one reason I've not made as many videos, as I've not had as much to make videos on lately, and I've not uh, exactly had the drive to do a whole lot of new stuff just right now. I'm not quitting the hobby. I still want to be active, and I'm still hoping to start my own group. That that's probably going to get delayed the way it's looking, because as we get closer to summer, again, if it's just my income, I don't really have the extra money that I was wanting to put into a group, because I was going to provide water, I was going to try to help provide darts, and I was going to have loner blasters and things like that. So in getting something started myself, uh, that was going to take a chunk of money, and I'm fine with losing money, but right now, uh, my wife and I aren't exactly in the financial shape to support a group right now, so I'm gonna have to back up and look at things a little bit differently. Still want to be involved in Nerf, still want to be doing things, but right now I'm just having to take a look at kind of where I am in the hobby and what I want to achieve with the hobby, and figure out how to get those two to meet. Um, it's going to look a little different than what I originally wanted it to, but I'm not giving up on it. Uh, that's I'm super happy to get the chance to try this cage out in a Stryfe, and uh, give my opinions on that. I want to be working on that stuff, but I'm just kind of having to take a measure of things and figure out what it all means, and you know how to get where I want to go. Um, Maybe change my short-term goals in order to be able to reach more long-term stuff. Of course, the YouTube channel, I could care less. I couldn't care less necessarily about how the channel performs. I'm glad to have subscribers. I'm glad to have people watching this stream. Glad to have people watch and comment on my videos. But I'm not going to say, "Hey, like, share, subscribe." That's not who I am. And that's not the reason that I set the channel up. The main reason I wanted to get a channel going is I was hoping to use it as a way of promoting a group once I got a group started. Um, show off a little bit of gameplay, show off some blasters and things like that. Uh, I want it to be sort of a ways of communicating. I use YouTube to communicate with people quite literally around the world as far as Nerf is concerned. I mean, I watch Tungsten, I've watched Sykes videos, and I've commented on those. I've watched stuff from MTB, and whatever that's evolving into, I hope that it goes well. Uh, I talk with Walcom out in Washington, Bray, Captain Xavier, all of them out there, Broke and Boomtendo and Jangular in California, the Foam Blast girls in Reno, Alice in Canada. Uh, that's I get to communicate with people through this medium, and it's made me more knowledgeable about Nerf. It's made me more informed about Nerf. Uh, I like to feel that a lot of these people are my friends, if nothing else, semi close associates. Um, and I enjoy uh, talking and communicating with these people, and I sort of enjoy having an audience a little bit. Again, I'm not doing this. The YouTube thing's not about money. I got in entirely too late, entirely too old, and everything to try to make money off YouTube. Um, that's not my thing. That's not what I'm in it for. Uh, but I hope to share kind of my limited knowledge and experience with people, and hopefully make people feel better about the hobby, feel better about communications and stuff like that. Uh, but uh, I don't necessarily want to be the nice guy of Nerf because I'm not always nice all the time. That's my wife will tell you that. Uh, that's uh, but uh, you know I want to be there to support people in the hobby, um, and and kind of share my love of the hobby, and that's what I'm doing it for. So yeah, that's you know, and that's my point, Alice. Is if somebody is doing something cool, if they're doing something neat, if they're doing something worthwhile, people are going to watch. They don't have to ask people to like and subscribe. Uh, that was one thing in Wacom's Discord server. I always posted links to my videos in the shit posting section. Uh, and they told me, well, you can share that in the Nerf and Stuff channel, or you can share that in the community tab. Once he set up the community tab on the Discord thing, uh, so you can share that stuff there because you're a creator and you're doing all this stuff. And I'm not about self promotion. That's not my thing. That's not what I'm in it for. If nothing else, I like to try to promote other people. Uh, that's like when I won the prize from CJ Nerf's thing uh, a little while back. That's I made a video when I got the package. I happened to get the video. I think it was the day of, or maybe the day before, of his live stream interview with Broke Nerfin. So I shot a video real quick, uh, telling people, hey, I won this from CJ. Go check out his interview over on Broke Nerfin's channel. Um, I try to promote other people that I think are doing cool stuff. Um, Alice is a hell of a maker. She's an engineer without an engineering degree, um, or from an engineering college or whatever there. Uh, but you know, Alice does some great things. I think Beret makes some awesome content. Mr. Nathan is doing great stuff. Uh, so I try to promote what I think is worthwhile and what I think is interesting. Uh, and again, I've done spring mods for years, but I'm getting into the flywheel stuff a little bit now. So, hopefully, seeing me do some of these things can encourage people to get a little more involved and do a few more things. That's as far as I feel about creating content on stuff. Uh, People can make fun of Kid Rock as much as they want. Uh, but what he said about his music production company um, was pretty good, and then I'm trying to look it up so I don't completely butcher what his saying was. Uh, okay, um, that's Kid Rock about his production company that he started to produce his music. He said, if it looks good, you'll see it. If it sounds good, you'll hear it. If it's marketed right, you'll buy it. But if it's real, you'll feel it. And I believe that. Uh, we'll see you, Gargunkel. Thanks for stopping by. Uh, but I believe if what you're doing is real, if you're genuine about what it is, people will know it, and that's why you'll attract an audience. And you know, do uh, do what you like, do what you love, have passion about it, and you'll get there eventually. Um, so that's sort of my thing. Is I do my channel basically for me. Um, I'm not a review channel. I've put up a few little review videos and things like that. I'm not necessarily a build channel or a design channel or a gameplay channel. Uh, but hopefully you'll see some gameplay on this channel eventually. Once I get a group started, once I get things going, I'll have some gameplay hopefully. Um, as things go on, yeah, I'm gonna do a review of the Jupiter. I know a bunch of people already have, but I'm gonna to do one myself and talk about my opinions of it and where I see it as a blaster. Uh, so that's the I want to be able to do the stuff that I want to see out there, and that's what I'm doing it. Well, and that's just it, Alice. If you don't feel it, you can't force it. Um, that's you have to do what you're feeling, and you've got to go with it. And that's why I've missed a few weeks of making videos. Is just I it was one of those things. I had two or three in the pipeline, some pieces that I'd shot and stuff like that, but I hadn't had the time to finish them up. And just knowing that I'm gonna have to take a different direction at some point, um, I knew that meant that I was gonna have to change some things, and that kind of took the air out of my sails about uh, doing some of that stuff. But I'd like to thank everybody. I've been on here for an hour and a half, and I, all I really did was gut a Stryfe. Uh, Hopefully, in a couple of days, I'll be able to stream again and put everything back together. Um, that's again, I kind of apologize because there's a couple of things that I should have uh, been ready to have done that I didn't think about until I started opening it on stream. Uh, that collaboration is going to be awesome. Just seeing what he machined, Alice, that came out looking wonderful. Of course, it was a good design to begin with. Um, I'm looking forward to a lot of the stuff that you've got in the pipeline right now, Alice. I think that's going to be some cool stuff going on. So, um, yeah, I'm hoping that all that will work out, and I wish you the best with that. So, I'd like to thank everybody that's in the chat that stopped by and watched the live stream. Uh, I've not quite yet figured out how to get it to tell me who all is watching, but I know Gargunkel just left. I see Sergeant Sriracha has commented, Coat Ducks here. Uh, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and watching the stream. Again, hopefully in a couple of days I'll be set up and ready to go, because I tell you the truth, I don't know exactly what all the rest of the week holds for me. Um, so I'd like to wish y'all a good evening, uh, and thank y'all for coming out. And I really appreciate y'all's time and listening to me. Hey, Builder, uh, listen to me amble on for a bit, because a good 45 minutes of this hour and a half stream has been just me babbling about things and kind of pointing stuff out and whatnot. But I really appreciate you guys for coming out. Um, Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll have some more for you later this week. So have a good evening. Uh, Keep flinging that foam.